All right, everyone, and welcome to the weekend market wrap up with myself, Michael Nauss from StatsEdgeTrading. As always, we're going to take a look at crypto. We're going to take a look at Forex. We're going to go through the individual ETFs. We're going to try to figure out what happened this week, potentially what we could see going on into next week. Now, for the subscribers over at the Substack, and if you haven't done that yet, I'll put a link in the description below of this video or below this tweet, wherever you're seeing it. Or you can always just go over to www.statsedgetrading.com and sign up for it there, because members of the Substack are going to get a special email, which is going to be a preview for what I'm going to do for StatsEdge Pro when that launches later this month or later in July. Essentially, I have developed a series of algorithms. I've been testing them for a long time. I've been using them for a while. I'm going to open the doors and present everybody every stock that has come through that algorithm, again, with a special members only video. So again, this will be a free preview for the next couple of weeks while I get everything set up. So make sure you sign up for it there. And if you end up liking it again and you enjoy that preview, then make sure you come on over whenever StatsEdge Pro launches. So without further ado, let's get into it, because we have both weekly and we have monthly candles. So pretty big deal. You can start with the Bitcoin monthly. Technically, these cryptos, depending on what exchange you're on, this one closes in a few days, but still just more of the same, more of what we've been seeing here for a long time in the Bitcoin and the crypto space. We've gotten back to this high and we're just churning and digesting through it. If we take a look at the weekly chart, same type of thing, right? Double top, maybe, who knows? Double bottom, maybe, who knows? But really just a big uh, digestion of this prior high. And that's a lot of often what you see at markets. This is why we know markets have some sort of price memory. When they come back up to them, often you'll see some sort of sideways digestion before a move in either direction. Uh, For me, there's not really too much to say other than that. We are just kind of up in that area. Now, if we go into Ethereum, however, there's been some relative strength on the short-term chart where, yes, we're down, but you notice Bitcoin was right at or a little bit below this low, whereas Ethereum's kind of holding up here, showing there's kind of an underlying bid that we're seeing in Ethereum. However, going to the monthly chart, you can see we haven't gotten quite near that high. So we haven't digested this this old high yet, but we're still kind of putting in the same pattern. But if we go back to Bitcoin, again, you can see this monthly chart is right at the multi-month lows. And then Ethereum, we're actually holding up a little bit here, right, compared to this low. So a little bit of relative strength in Ethereum still. I'm going to be interested if the market's going to move. I'm going to buy whatever the strongest participant is there. And so far, that looks like it may be Ethereum. So that's where I'm going to be focusing my attention going forward now. Making sure I have my, here it is, make sure I have my list to what I wanted to go over here. Also, before we go leave cryptocurrency, we have Pepe. Very strong last month, a little bit of a pullback this month, but still found support at this prior high. Into the weekly chart, 3 or 4 weeks down in a row, but again, just a nice orderly looking pullback. It doesn't look like this thing's collapsing. So sure, meme coins about frogs. Why not? Why not in 2024? All right, on to traditional currencies. We'll actually just look at the Dixie first, as usual. And really, nothing happened this week. Right? Spinning top week. These are generally indecision weeks. So when you see an indecision week like this, it's all about what happens next. You can see we had another little spinning top right here, and then another one right here. So when you have these I don't know what's going on week, right? Another one right here. You're waiting for the next few weeks for some sort of action, right? The two that we had right here as well. So are we coming back up? We have a little bit of indecision and then we're going to pull down. Or is this just going to be a little bit of a rest before we move higher? Who knows? But no good information from the dollar this week, but we're looking to see what happens next week. Got to take a look at the euro here. Massive pinch between these two zones. So we have We found support right here, and then we found support right here on the euro. Will that happen again, or will this thing bleed through? Who knows? But it does look like we may be finding some support there, and that might take us to a little bit of a push higher. Anything with the yen is just insane. This is nuts. So remember, it was right here the last time the Bank of Japan kicked in. I think they spent $60 billion or something, which it doesn't seem crazy to push and do this insane push in their currency. Now we're back above that price. Does that bring in the Bank of Japan again to say, hey, we're going to redefend this level? Who knows? But the trend has just been an absolute beast on the yen here. Last but not least, let's look at the franc, USD, CHF. And if we take a look at the franc, you can see we have some resistance from this major anchor view app overhead. We sold off and then we've bounced now for 2 weeks, and we've come into the anchored view app from this high right here. So there's some resistance that could be taking place overhead here on the franc. So this is going to be one of my primary stocks that I look at, or sorry, currencies that I look at next week. If we see some sort of reversal down here on the daily chart, I'll probably put a stop above this area right here and just see if we can get a push down, another push leg lower there on the franc. Okay, now let's pop into, just keep this open. We'll do the web version of trade ideas here. And let's take a look at a couple things that I noticed going through my sectors. First one, if we go to the weekly chart here of the SPY, we can see potentially a tweezer top. So a tweezer top is when you have two wicks that come up and they are roughly in the same area on a candlestick chart. The idea is when you have a wick just represents rejection from buyers or sellers. So you moved up once and then the sellers came in and rejected that price. Then you moved up again, they came in and rejected that price. Both happened around the same area. Can, if we see bearish action into next week, could lead to a little bit of a pullback. Again, just nothing I'm freaked out about, but if we get an orderly pullback to test this area, that's fine. Even if we come in here and test this, again, that's fine. Right? That's a 10% move from there to there. That seems like a totally fine pullback that could occur. If you take a look, we had a tweezer bottom right here where it pulled in, and then we had buyers come in at the end of the week, then push back in. We had buyers come in at the end of the week. This even happened a third time. We had a push down and we had buyers come in at the back of the week. And that led this multi-week to a month or so rally. And then we had a bit of a tweezer top up here, and that led to a couple week down move. So again, I'm not looking for the end of the world or anything here, just saying, hey, this thing could be getting to the point where we have a little bit of a pullback just based off this candlestick pattern that I see right here. XLC, I want to look at XLC on the actual monthly chart. XLC, there we go. And the reason I want to look for this on a monthly chart is that I just want to show this prior high. So we have moved up to this high right here. We've put in a high right there and then also a high right there. Could be interesting to see if, like we saw with Bitcoin, are we going to hit this zone, digest it for a little bit before pushing higher? That would pull back some of the communication sector. And in the communication sector, we have things like Google, I think Meta's in there as well. So some names that are very important to what's going on here. After this massive move higher, I wouldn't be shocked to see either a slight pullback or some sort of digestion up in this area. Again, we're talking about a monthly chart. So the reason I like to look at these long-term charts, even though I'm more of a swing trader for a couple days to a couple weeks, is that just gives me a big overview of what's happening. So a couple things are saying, hey, we might be in for a little pause for a period of time, and that'd be absolutely fine if that happened. It just means I'm going to favor my pullback strategy over my trend continuation strategy. And we'll talk about that in the video that's going to be available to the Substack subscribers. So definitely make sure that you're checking that out. So we have these prior highs right here on XLE. We're in the energy sector right now. We broke out and we've come back to it, and we put in a nice little bottoming tail on this weekly candle. So could be that we've broken out and we've come back and we've successfully retested and we're going to push higher. But energy to me is very interesting. So I'm going to look at energy potentially next month going in on the long side. Two more names. We have XLF and XLF right here. we have some sideways consolidation after we broke this prior high. Kind of looks like Bitcoin. Kind of looks like we're digesting this area here on the monthly chart on XLF. If we go into the weekly chart, you can see more of the same, but a potential higher low right here. So if we get some continuation here on financials, I think that looks interesting. And last but not least for the sector, I want to take a look at XLI, which are industrials. And this is holding up well over these prior resistance. So we now have 4 months or so of just moving sideways and nothing happening. If we go into the weekly chart, you can see that a little bit better of 4 months of the sideways consolidation. So I'm watching now this XLI a little bit closer to see if we get a breakout there as well. So just a name or two that I'm interested in just to show. Now these are my discretionary things that I look at for the ones that the algo is putting out. I definitely think you should check out, again, that email that's going to come out to Substack subscribers sometime on the weekend. But we have this nice rounded bottom here in Snapchat with this high right here. So I did a Substack on this earlier in the week, just saying, hey, I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback, some sort of rest. It's exactly what's happening in Snapchat right here. So if we can get a couple days of this and then a breakout, I do definitely like the look of that name right there. Also, Tesla. Tesla is kind of interesting to me, where there was some bad articles that came out this week. However, it could be, I'm gonna move my head a bit, but we could be seeing a shoulder and then a head and then a shoulder, and then that starts to push us higher. Potential reversal pattern going on here in Tesla that could cause this and Snapchat, which are two laggers in the sector, move higher if we're going to start to see some sort of rotation. So thank you all for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out and watching this video. And make sure you're signed up to that Substack so you get that bonus email that will come out probably on Sunday. And until then, I will see you guys soon.